Okay. Hearing you for 5 minutes. Oh boy. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, second live stream. And thanks so much for tuning in, guys. Oh man, what an emotional journey. So, last time I did a live stream, I used my phone and I thought the quality was junk. So, as of yesterday, I spent like 6 hours researching different options, different ways that I can stream with like HDMI and high quality video and all this stuff. And then today I spent 2 hours setting it up. So I'm like 8 hours into this live streaming plus some additional equipment, which was not cheap. So, yeah, thanks for bearing with me. It's going to be kind of one of those, continuous fine tuning practices as I get better with the quality and, can punch off right at 7 on the dot. So, yeah, so thanks so much. So someone asked if this is a VIPRE Hinderer. I just put this here as a placeholder to make sure that my video is properly centered. And this is the Hinderer half track, although VIPRE Knives did a, I don't know, it's kind of a weird collaboration, isn't it? Because Hinderer's a production company, VIPRE's a production company, but VIPRE did a version of this knife, albeit cheaper, because this is not a cheap knife. So, yeah, this is a BladeHQ exclusive. So let's get into it. I'm going to try to keep up with all the comments here as best I can. As always, it's a struggle. Don't want you guys to think that I don't love you or appreciate you or any of those things. So, let's see here. Going to go through the comments real quick. John, don't leave. Loud and clear. There we go. All right. So doing really well. Let's start out with a pocket dump. See what I'm carrying today. So this I was not carrying today, but I'll carry that tomorrow. We'll talk about that in a minute. ZT0010BLK. The Koenig knives. Oh, I'm sorry, not Koenig knives. Guardian Tactical Koenigs. This one was. I did a video on it, but it is an interesting release, and it's going to be limited because of some legal disputes. Let's see here. Offing Mir wallets. I'm wearing my Steinhardt Triton 30 watch. It's pretty massive. This is a huge watch. What else do I have? Fitbit Alta. So I can keep track of my steps and get money from work for being healthy and crap. I think that's it. Took off my rings a little bit ago. I forgot to put them back on, but that's what I'm carrying today. So, yeah. So that is what is in the pocket, and then, new stuff that I got in. This is, again, the Hinderer half track. This is a BladeHQ exclusive, and it's got some pretty sweet anodizing throughout here in the pivot screw, around the cutouts, all that good stuff. There we go. So, yeah, this one's breaking in nicely. Initially, the detent was straight brutal. I was having trouble flipping it, but it's breaking in pretty nice. I'm interested to see how smooth it gets on these Teflon washers here. I have a Jesse Jarrow's K2A that is ridiculously smooth on Teflon washers, and that knife sets the bar, but that one's like 70% hand done, whereas this one probably not that much. So anyways, yeah, so I got this one this week, and it's brand spanking new, and again, this one's just on loan. It's a BladeHQ exclusive. So this video is brought to us by BladeHQ. Their logo is right here on this blue board, but camera angle is not getting it in. So brought to us by BladeHQ and caffeine, the drug that keeps us kicking. Okay. There we go. All right. To answer a couple questions, Wallet is Offing Mir. He has an Etsy page, and I tag him on my Instagram pics pretty often. Makes some really, really cool wallets. It's got 4 different card slots internally, and then 1 different card slot in the back. So there's that. Benchmade Anthem questions. Still love it. I still think it's totally worth it. And I plan on keeping it. So let's get into the meat and potatoes of the video here. So the premise is BladeHQ throws a random knife or potentially knives into the Barney and Baby Bop lunchbox. And they put them in the lunchbox when I was standing there. I covered my eyes like a child, but I think there might be 2 in here. I think that's what I heard him say, or there's 2 items. Again, I really didn't look because I didn't want to ruin, I guess, the surprise. So let's see what they put in the box today. All right, we have our characteristic Barney hand puppet and, ooh, the VIPRE Larious. This is the VIPRE. Oh, I did want to see this one. Good call. Good call. I think they said Justin picked the knife out for me this week, and this was one that I was honestly wanting to check out, so well done. Well done, good people at BladeHQ. What else was in here? No, just that? Okay, just that. All right, and then, you know, we've got the Barney hand puppet here, so there we go. And there we've got some spec sheets, probably, I think they put in the spec sheet probably for the carbon fiber, and if I had to guess, also the titanium. No, just 2 pages here. All right, sweet. So we've got a spec sheet, and there is the item number, if you guys want to check it out on BladeHQ. But this is made in Italy, so I'm pretty pumped to check this one out. There's some pretty good Italian companies that are off the radar that I've wanted to do some more stuff with. So let's take a look at it. All right. So VIPRE Larious, who's the designer on this one? Fabrizio Silvestrelli is the designer. And I've seen his name on either some other VIPRE designs or, I mean, he's an Italian designer, obviously, with the name there, but I feel like I've seen his designs elsewhere before, probably just other VIPRE knives, if I had to guess. But this model was, I think it was debuted at Blade Show, and it's finally been released. Or, I know they have, VIPRE just released a couple of knives, actually, like several knives all at once. And yeah, again, someone brought up earlier that VIPRE did a collaboration with Hinderer on this specific knife, which I did handle at Blade Show. It was debuted there. I didn't spend too much time at the VIPRE booth, though. Yeah, that thing's breaking in nicely. I like that. Yeah, I like this knife. It's cool. All right, so let's see here. Questions. I think I like that knife. Well said, Eric. Well said. Let's see what we have going on here. All right, so carbon fiber. Nice little titanium pivot collar that looks just like an anodized blue titanium pivot ring. Some nice milling here on this thing. Some really nice milling. Flipper tab is just the way I like it. 45-degree with jimping. Let's see what else do we have going on. And then a matching titanium backspacer. Lanyard post, which is always very cool. Matching titanium pocket clip. It's a liner lock with a flipper. Action is, to be honest, mediocre. Yeah, I mean, I can get this thing to fail, no problem. I would prefer a stronger detent. But with the low profile flipper tab, I mean, you know, I get it, right? Yeah. Okay. Well, that is some early lockup right there. That's got to be like 10% on this thing, so. Pocket pecker is too big. Dude, got me beat. My real name is Vincenzo. Okay, just looking through some of the comments here. So I've got my laptop like over there, and you know, before like all the comments were here on the screen in front of me. So I'm having to constantly like look over in that direction. you know, again, like the video isn't quite where I want it yet. I know the audio is not quite where I want it yet for live streaming, but we're making progress here. We're getting closer. Had to get a video capture device. I'd never even heard of one of those. Oh. Anyways, good times. And I mean, I'm only like 30, 31, and I'm pretty tech savvy, and I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, but I'm sharp enough. And holy crap, I mean, 3 different video software programs, trying to go through, you know, 720 to, I mean, it was pretty gnarly. I mean, it'll get easier as I figure out my system here, but man, what an emotional 2 days. So yeah. Okay, so Steel Arts, who's watching, said that Fabrizio Silvestrelli is a very famous custom knife maker here in Europe. Ooh, someone is asking, this VIPRE, the 850? That's a good question. I'm gonna say 850, but this thing is not bad. So let's go back to the knife here. So M390 blade steel, compound ground, kind of harpoon look to it. This one's a stone wash. I mean, it's a really attractive design overall. I think it's really, really good looking, to be honest. And Europeans definitely have smaller hands than we do. I'm a little bit cramped here on this handle, so let me show you guys what this thing looks like in my hand. And again, my hand size is, you know, extra large, but fighter style handle here with kind of the flared pommel, and so it's a little cramped for my hand. I think medium or small hands, this thing would be pretty comfortable. I mean, I can make it work, you know what I mean? Wrap my pinky around the butt of the knife here. I mean, here's the thing. No knife is perfect, and I have so many knives that I'm willing to overlook small details on certain knives because it's not really a big deal to me. Whereas I know that other people, if you only have a couple knives, you have to be really picky about making sure you love everything. When you get to the point where you have more than you can possibly carry in a month, you know, switching off each day or twice a day, then it's not really a big deal. If little things here and there, it's kind of like cars. Every car has a personality, right? Anyways, so I mean, it's going to work better with smaller hands on the grip here. Oh, some jimping up on the top of the blade. Really well done. That's really nice and grippy. So decently smooth. I wonder if it's on washers. It feels like it's on washers. It actually looks like it's on bearings. Oh, this was also my pocket, the Overready Boss 35. So I'm just looking for my benefit here. There's a detent ramp. It looks like it's a really weird cutout here. I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's like a weird, looks like a detent ramp. It's actually kind of like a weird cutout. I don't know, that's interesting. It's like they ground off where the blade makes contact a little bit. Maybe that's just oil. Anyhow, it's decently smooth. It feels like it's on washers. I'm pretty sure it's on bearings. What else we got going on? Steel bearings. All right, thanks, Tommy. Yeah, so steel bearings. So I mean, it's decently smooth. I think it would break in. I think it would be a little bit smoother with some use. Decent. I mean, it's not. I've had other knives that were smoother, but you know, as you can see, I'm getting pretty reliable deployment. Just putting in mild effort. Again, if I want to half-A it, I definitely can on this thing. So, but yeah, interesting piece. Centering is pretty good there, and as you guys can see, they put a cutout here so it's easy to get that lock bar. They put the show side a little bit lower so you can access it, so that's nice. Alright. Nick would disagree with some statement I said. Not sure which one, Vinny, but probably about living with small quirks of knives. Yeah, he probably wouldn't. But, we've all got our different ways we look at things, different ways that we collect, so that's a pretty stiff looking pocket clip here. They had to leave a gap. Let me try it in the pocket. Ooh. Yeah, that thing is stiff. That is a stiff pocket clip. So they left a gap here on the pocket clip in between the carbon fiber and the clip because it is doesn't really have any flex to it. So that was a necessary evil, I guess we can say. But at least they left enough of a gap that it works in jeans. So I mean, it goes in and out of my pocket without too much trouble. But if you bent this down to make full contact with the scale, that's gonna not really give you any give. Nice milling though. I like the milling. Actually, it's got quite a bit of grip, to be honest, so pretty functional, the milling that they did on this carbon fiber. And then obviously some visual elements to tie in, you know, the various functional components. Rounded off. There's no hot spots on it, but yeah. So, pretty cool. So let's see here. Are you going to blister the forefinger flipping this knife, Eric asks. No, no sharpened edges here. No, I mean it flips decent. You know what I mean? There's no there's no jimping behind it. That's one of my pet peeves, is when people put jimping behind the flipper tab. Again, the ZT-0560 was a knife that did that, and I bought two and sold two because of it. I mean, the first time I bought the 0560, I don't know if you guys remember, but there were just mega threads on the forums about that knife. I mean, it was like all that anyone talked about for, I don't know, like 4 months or something. So of course you had to get one, you know what I mean? And I didn't really like it, and at the time it was kind of a lot of money for a knife, or at least I thought so. So I sold it, and then I picked up a modified ZT-0560 that had been given like a Warncliffe blade. And who did that one? That one was done by Christensen Knife Works, Matt Christensen. He's a custom maker now. He did the mod on that one. It was pretty cool. But again, the jimping behind the flipper tab, I just couldn't deal with it, so I sold that one too. Yeah, that was a knife that I bought twice and sold twice. So rule of thumb is I shouldn't pick it up a third time, but I'm kind of tempted to with one of the newer versions, or the last version that had the stainless steel lock insert. So, I mean, you know, these are the things that keep me up at night, right? All right. So Vinny is just talking about this one, 200 bucks. Yeah, 200 bucks isn't a bad price. You know what I mean? I mean, here's the thing. If you've got smaller hands, and the weight is pretty good. Please don't tell me I have my scale in the drawer in front of me. I'll just use their specs. Well done, BladeHQ, well done. Assuming they weighed it correctly, which I have no doubt that they did. 3.3 ounces, yeah, it feels like 3.3. So pretty lightweight with the full carbon fiber. You know, stronger detent would be preferable. It's not a make or break for me because it flips reliably if I want it to. But, you know, again, with my hand size, I think someone with smaller hands would certainly benefit from the knife. Blade grind's really nice, though. I like the flat tip here. And then, I mean, full flat grind for the most part, aside from the tip, which has a separate flat, but it comes down to a pretty nice edge. Oh yeah, I think shaving sharp, so that's well done. Here is, what was his name again? Was it Silvio? Oh, Fabrizio. Here is Fabrizio's maker mark, so yeah, not bad, Fabrizio. Alright, alright, trying to follow the comments. Let's see here, what are you guys talking about? So Tommy's talking about VIPRE being one of his favorite production companies, and the VIPRE Storm. Yeah, I think the VIPRE Storm was the production version of the Hinderer half track. I think that's right. Tommy, tell me if I'm correct on that. And interesting. What else do we have going on? Yeah, so that, let me know what questions you guys have about this particular one. You know, again, I think it's, you know, initial impressions without really having any carry time, without it breaking in. I think it's a pretty nice knife. I mean, as someone else mentioned here in the comments, Tommy mentioned M390 and full carbon fiber handles with a milled pocket clip for 200 bucks. I mean, that's I mean, that's pretty much as good as it's gonna get. I mean, even like the Kaiser knives with M390, they did a couple limited runs. Those were like 240. Or ZT, the 0560, that one's 240 with similar materials. But the fit and the finish on the, I'm sorry, the ZT, oh, what's the model number? Not the 560, it's the, dang it. The comparable one, I've got one. I can't think of the numbers right now. But I mean, that one's got better fit and finish, and that one's 240 as well. But this is real carbon fiber. This isn't like the, you know, the faux laminate type of stuff. So I mean, it's a pretty good deal. It's a pretty good deal. Nothing to scoff at. But yeah, let's take a look at that. I should probably grab a couple knives for size comparisons. There's the Guardian Tactical Konix. Let me grab the Parrot 2. And then I'll grab the ZT I was talking about. I can't think of the name. There we go. There we go. All right, so here's the ZT, the Z0562. So here's definitely a comparable option in terms of materials. But as you guys can see here on the size differences between the two. So this one fits really, really well in my hand. This one, obviously not so much, but I mean the size differences are pretty obvious there. The Parrot 2, because always, I guess. Halden is talking about the ramp I was talking about on the VIPRE here being similar to the what is it, GM2 knives or Giant Mouse knives. Those are made by VIPRE as well. And from what I hear, they spend a little bit more time on the quality control. Either that or Giant Mouse spends more time on the quality control, but you know, they're also more expensive too. So I mean, if you like the Giant Mouse knives, you know, you can probably expect more of the same with VIPRE, with their in-house offerings. So okay, yeah, Tommy clarified that these VIPRE Storm is the production version of the Hinderer half track. So thanks for that, Tommy. Some close-up shots, Vinny. Yep, we can do close-up shots. And let's see. Bad luck. Let's see. Someone's talking about bad luck with VIPRE. What'd you say, Mr. Gear Bear? I hear the time makers, but I have to say some bad luck. Yeah, so there have been some pretty long threads. There's another VIPRE knife. The name escapes me right now. It was also in the $200 price range. It also had carbon fiber M390. And there were some mega threads just about issues with the detent being rather weak, some centering issues, just some small fit and finish type of gripes that people had with the knife. A lot of people jumped on it because of the materials and the price point, but there are a lot of disappointed people in some of those blade form threads. So I just can't remember the model. Someone wants to remind me of the model that preceded this one that was really popular, then we'll know. All right, let's see here. Oh, the Odino. Yeah, it was the VIPRE Odino. Thanks for that, Tommy. So the VIPRE Odino preceded this one, and a lot of people are super excited for the specs and the price and so forth. But let's do some close-up shots. Hopefully this is streaming in decent enough quality for you guys. I was so-so about the quality. When I was trying to test it earlier, I was doing multiple testing. So I don't know. Hopefully it's good enough for you guys, but we'll improve. We'll definitely improve. It's just going to take a little bit of time and a lot of error and a decent amount of trial. So VIPRE Larious. Okay, sorry. Had to shut my phone off there. And looks like we do have some, no, that's just, what if that liner is titanium or stainless steel? And again, some people hate the magnet test, but that's steel. Yeah. So the liner for the liner lock is steel, which again I prefer. I don't know why people keep saying that titanium liners are better on liner locks. It really makes no sense to me, considering that the difference in materials and lock stick and other junk. I don't get it. I think people are just think that titanium is better than stainless steel and everything except for the blade, and so they expect it. But I would happily disagree. So the backspacer here has a little bit more of that kind of milling that's carried over from the frame, and then the butt is nicely rounded. So there's some close-ups of the knife here. Okay. Yeah, Fox Knives Tur. So again, you know, within the Italian families, there's Fox, there's VIPRE. Those are the two main ones. They're both out of Maniago. I think there's some other knife manufacturers out of Maniago. BladeHQ has a couple other companies that I did want to check out. I think it's like, it's not Massimo, but like Mossino or something like that. There are a few other Italian companies that are kind of under the radar that I wanted to look at eventually when I have time. Okay, let's see here. So Scrim was asking me if I have any experience with the giant mouse knives. I don't. I haven't picked up any of those yet. But again, they're made by VIPRE Knives, so they're made by this company. So I mean, the quality should be the same or potentially slightly better on the giant mouse knives. I hear a lot of good things, at least. A couple of voids in the carbon fiber. I didn't see any. Oh wait, no, there's one right there, it looks like. Right near the pivot collar. There's a couple in the milled portions. I mean, if, you know, if that bothers you. Let's see, were there any other? Right there as well. I mean, that could have been dropped or something. I don't know if that's a void necessarily. But, yeah. Let's see here. So I think some of your comments are being blocked. I wonder if I can tell it to not block comments, assuming that it's probably blocking any comments if you guys are swearing. Yeah, it's not gonna let me fix it in the middle of a stream, so apologize if some of your comments are not coming through. Okay. All right, looking through some of the comments. Yeah, so Vinny was talking about how Emerson, apparently they use steel liner on the offside and put a tie lock side. Yeah, so apparently, I guess Emerson will use like a stainless steel liner on the show side and then a titanium, you know, liner lock on the knife, which from a weight standpoint doesn't make a lot of sense. And then, you know, again, my personal opinion, but I think titanium is inferior as a liner lock. You know, you get any lubrication on the interface, you're going to end up with a ton of lock stick, and then you have to take it apart. You have to completely clean. I really like the lazy approach to cleaning knives. I like blasting my lubricant of choice up here in the pivot and then just using compressed air and blowing it out so I don't have to take apart knives. You know, if you like to take apart knives and like that's your thing, then more power to you. But I just don't have time for all of that in between, you know, the work and the videos and I mean everything else. So I really like the lazy approach, and the titanium doesn't work well in that regard. But again, you know, back in the day, makers used to tout the benefits of titanium liners. The fact that it had lock stick, they said, was a safety feature. And that's kind of like some of those weird CRKT like locks and safety things they have on knives. No, just no. So, all right, let's see what we've got going on in the comments here. All right. Okay. Yeah, so Halden was saying that it looks like VIPRE is incorporating some of the feature requests that Giant Mouse is putting them to, like the pivot collar in their knives. And that's happened with quite a few manufacturers, most notably when Beg Knives started working with Riot. Riot incorporated a lot of the technical features that Beg Knives taught them how to do, or requested that they figure out for their knives. So that's a good thing. I mean, and again, I think that Jesper Voxnays and oh my gosh, I can't think of names tonight, guys. I'm not drinking caffeine. That's my problem. Give me a sec. Okay. So yeah. Anyways, moral of the story. Hopefully, Giant Mouse pushes VIPRE to produce better quality overall. They start mimicking maybe the action, on their flippers, or the pivot collars like they've already done on this one and a few of the other features. More power to them, especially if they're going to be coming in at what like $60 or $80 or $100 cheaper than Giant Mouse knives. I mean, I'm down, right? You guys down? So, oh, okay. So apparently I was wrong about it being the Odino. So Halden corrected me in the comments a couple years ago, or a couple months ago, probably. It wasn't the Odino. That they were having issues with, like the weak detents and other things. It was the Fortis. So thank you for that, Halden. The funny thing is, I had a VIPRE Odino, and up till just this very moment, I completely forgot that I had one, and I completely forgot that I did a full video on one. That was a couple years ago. So. And I needed more caffeine, so I'm stepping in the excuse box for that one. But yeah, it was the VIPRE Fortis that was, carbon fiber and M390, $200. But then there were a lot of issues with fit and finish. I know people talked about they ended up sending theirs back to, the distributor that they bought it from, the dealer that they bought it from, because they weren't happy with them. So unfortunate. Again, $200 for those materials, though. I think that's right where we want to be. So where was the ZT0562? So this is also, I think, a really good comparison. If you have larger hands, this would be the better knife. Although, again, it's $40 more, but for warranty support, you're going to Oregon instead of going to Italy. And the last time I shipped. Oh man, I hate shipping overseas, but I want to say it was like 40 or $50, I think, the last time I did it. So it's not cheap. It's definitely not cheap. All right, does it feel thin behind the edge? Yes, it does. I wonder if they have that in the specs, thickness behind the edge. Handle. No, they don't. All right, guys, I'm going to move the camera for a second to get out my calipers. Oh, then torques and other things. So, all right, we'll move that back. I apologize, that is super unprofessional. Moving your camera around and crap. All right, so thickness behind the edge. Again, the Para 2 behind the edge is 0.025. I think I should just have it memorized. Yes, 0.025. Thickness behind the edge on the Larious here is 0.025. So, I mean, it's blade stock 0.158, 0.148, I think. Yeah, 0.148. So blade stock's just a tiny bit thicker than the Para 2. I mean, it's pretty much indistinguishable to the human eye, or almost. But it comes down to the same thickness behind the edge as the Para 2. So it's going to perform pretty well for slicing. So great question, Vinny. Hello, 7 Ready. Now, Vinny asks, is this made in Europe or China? So here's the thing. If we're going along with the rumor mill, then we can assume that almost every company, including those in Europe, has some parts machined in China. And then, a lot of the work they do at their home base or home base of operation. So, you know, if you want to talk about what I've heard, yes, I've heard that most of the Italian companies utilize some form of machining or water jetting or something in China. Is that true? I mean, I'm not over there. I've never asked the company directly, and so that's all hearsay. Again, it's who knows, right? But that's what I've heard. So for all intents and purposes, and for what's on the spec sheet, and for what the manufacturer reports, this is completely made in Italy. So fatto in Italia. Più o meno. Più o meno. All right. Let's see. Lion steel. Yeah, I've heard the same thing about lion steel. Pretty much all the Italian companies. Again, I'm not there, unfortunately. I don't know if it's true. I'm not following people around, you know, with cameras behind boxes and, you know, breaking the news, but probably. You know, especially in Europe, I mean, the cost of manufacturing are not going to be any cheaper than the U.S. So it's highly plausible, but again, who knows? Okay. Was with a line steel cur that dropped a detent ball. So Blitz Bluff BBFFL Blitz Blub full, something like that. Said they had a detent ball fall out of a line steel. I had a detent ball fall out of a. Oh man, my brain is not working tonight. It was a Russian-made knife, Chebarkov. So I mean, it happens from time to time. You know, as long as the company makes it right, then awesome. Assuming that the hole itself hasn't widened and they can just reinsert the ball, that's great. But otherwise, they have to replace the knife, especially on an integral. So let's see here. Trifactor equipment and iconic. So Mr. Gearbear is talking about a possible substitute for giant mouse being, I guess, factor equipment for iconic as the model. I think I saw those on BladeHQ. But again, there's so many different knife companies popping up now that are, you know, made overseas. It's kind of hard to keep up with them all. Plus, you know, just standard companies that we know and love are pumping out more knives than ever. So it's definitely, there's a lot out there for, you know, for better or for worse. So I mean, Hinderer is now making a bunch of models: the half track, the MP1, the Jurassic. There's one that starts with an M, plus all the various sizes of the XM18 or XM24. I mean, you know, even Hinderer has quite a few models now, more than he ever had in the past. So a lot of different knives coming out of a lot of different places these days. All right. Oh, Jens Anzo and Jesper Voxney. Thank you, Halden. That is, you know, the people behind Giant Mouse Knife, along with, I think, their financial backer out of the San Francisco area. So primarily a three-man team, kind of, I guess. So, okay. All right. Like browse. Yeah. Okay. So what questions do you guys have? Is there any other knives that you guys want me to pull out of the knife box? Yep, Vinny. You rock on with your bad self, and we'll leave that in the comments. So Vinny's just talking about certain companies that are, you know, pretty much known in being made in China and charging significantly higher prices for it. So yeah, let's look at this one. I think I'm going to do a video on this one. It's a really interesting knife from BladeHQ. Definitely the best looking of the half tracks, but holy cow, is it a pricey knife. What is this, like $585? But man, the cutouts that they did with like the gold edges speaks to me, you know. I even like the way they did the standoffs at the back, how they sit a bit proud, but they milled that area down so that those standoffs are still in line with the overall height of the handle. That's a nice touch. It's looks very industrial, you know. I dig that. So, and then Hinderer clips, man, they just work so freaking well. I mean, it's just a good clip. No sharp edges, doesn't freaking pull at my shirts, plenty of gap in and out of the pockets really nicely. Hinderer makes a really, really good clip. May not be the most exciting unless you put some spinny gear things on it that I do want to try. But yeah, good clip, definitely. So, ugh, that hurts. With my thumb, I do not misfire on this thing at all, but with the finger, I mean, you've got to get a, you got to do a straight pull back, otherwise you're just slipping on it. It does not like push down, even though the shape would make you think, oh, perfect for push down. No, that sucker's not moving. But I'll tell you what, I will take a hard to flip knife over a knife that does not flip at all. And when you're using Teflon washers, you've got to increase that, that detent strength to compensate for the fact that it's not on bearings. Speaking of which, I wonder if he's ever going to use bearings. You know, eventually, you know, sometimes companies and makers get beat up so much that they're forced to change. And, you know, the fact that he strengthened his detent was kind of, you know, one area he got beat up on, and maybe he said enough is enough, I'll finally do it. I don't know, it'd be interesting to see if he did bearings, because obviously ZT does bearings on his models, so I don't know, it's kind of weird, you know, why stick with Teflon, and when people who reduce your knives for you use, I don't know. That is an interesting conversation. I met Rick at Blade Show, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, but we chatted for like 10 minutes. He's a nice guy. Yeah, he was a really nice guy. He was telling me about a story about some drama that was going on around one of his fixed blades that like someone broke and then claimed that it was a bad design. And yeah, man, tell you what, I don't know if I'd be like the most politically correct knife maker if I had people coming at me about dumb stuff. You gotta finesse things sometimes to keep everyone happy. All right, so I've rambled on a little bit about that. Ooh, 7 Ready asked for a Kaiser Guru size comparison. Excellent question. Let me lean over. Okay. Okay. Ursa Minor and Kaiser Guru. Man, I love the Guru. And I really like Matt Degnan. He's a really, really nice guy. So there we are. There's some smaller ones. That was a good question, 7 Ready. Okay. Yeah, Tommy was just saying the detent has to be crazy on that half track. It is. I think it'll break in. I think it'll get a little bit nicer. You know, again, the knife that sets the bar for Teflon is definitely this Jesse Jarrow's K2A. And this is a $400 knife, and this thing, you know, Jesse didn't want to call it a mid-tech. He just said, you know, I've got 30% machine work and 70% hand work into this knife, which is a fantastic way to describe how much he put in versus how much machine did, you know, water jet and so forth. But man, this thing is on Teflon washers and it is just ridiculous. Jesse is now making a flipper that runs on Teflon washers, and I really want to try one out. I think he's going to send me one to borrow. I'm going to have to bother him about that, because if he can do a you know, an opening hole knife on Teflon this smooth, I'm really excited to see what he can do with a flipper on Teflon washers, because that is ballsy in this day and age. So anyways, I mean, if this Hinderer could get as smooth as this freaking K2A, I mean, that would be money. I love this knife. Out of all like my higher end knives, I mean, this is by far one of the nicest users ever made. I have nothing but high praise for this knife, so I should really carry it more. Speaking of which, one of my New Year's resolutions is to cut my collection in half and spend more time with the knives that I really, really love. But yeah, I'm already buying an Eschaton, so I guess I failed there, and we're not even in 2018 yet. But you know, if you're paying for the knife in 2017, it doesn't come till 2018, then you didn't buy a new knife in 2018, right? Because hashtag logic, right? Okay, let me go back through the comments and get more caffeine. Caffeine is brought to you by Bang. Peach mango flavor, excellent, excellent. All right, Tommy asked for a better look on the grind on the VIPRE. I like that the plunge line kind of mates up to a flat here on the handle. Gives it a more cohesive look. A friend of mine, he's really obsessive about plunge lines, and if they match, like, you know, the frame and stuff, he's a crazy mofo. But you know, sometimes if the plunge, you know, the plunge lines are like completely out of whack, it looks terrible. That's one aspect of the design element of the knife, and then it also plays into obviously sharpening and cutting too, depending on how they did it and where they did it. But anyway, so hopefully that is a good look at the grind here. Yeah, so VIPRE Larious. Okay, so I answered Drake Dragonheart's question if I'm getting an eschaton. Yes. Whoa, comments, come back. Where did we go here? Whoa. Okay, a lot of comments. All right, guys, give me a sec to catch up. So the centering on the VIPRE is spot on. No problems with that. Do you have a Kaiser Toro? Scrim asked. The Kaiser Toro, I don't. I'm trying to think. Was that the Matt Diskin knife? Because if it is, I had an actual custom Matt Diskin that knife was based on a couple of years ago, and that was a cool knife. But I haven't handled the Toro yet, I don't believe. Yeah, Eric Bolts and Blades is saying he loves his XM18, but some of the overseas companies are really stepping it up. Oh yeah, blade length. I didn't talk about specs on this one, did I, Eric? Blade length on this one is 3.3, just about 3.3 inches here. Handle length is, where are we at? 4.25. So 3.3, 4.25 handle. There it is next to the para 2, pivot to pivot, and rear to rear. So Blitz said he bought 5 family members' knives for Christmas but couldn't ship them to New York. Had to ship them to Virginia and then smuggle them into New York. I highly approve, Blitz. I hope that your family members are not arrested by New York's finest because of you. Yeah, Tommy's just concurring that he would take a strong D10 over a weak one. So, as Prolunker said that Rick keeps the Teflon washers for hard use, since bearings can get mucked up and so forth. I think that's true to an extent, but I mean, I've seen guys take knives on bearings and like process an elk, like Eric, who's in the chat with us today. I mean, he processed like an elk or a bull or something with a bag Steelcraft knife that was on bearings, and he had no problems doing it. So like, I kind of agree that like Teflon washers are harder use, I suppose, but I've never seen, you know, a knife on bearings fail. I've never seen it get gunked up to the point that, you know, you can't use it anymore. I mean, anything's possible, but I mean, it's just kind of getting into the realm of the obscure. For 99% of people, I don't think that bearings will be a problem. Now, if you're overseas and, you know, you're in the sandbox and, you know, a military personnel, maybe there's so much sand out there, just sand gets everywhere. Maybe that is an instance, but I mean, for normal use, for daily carry, for daily cutting stuff, I just don't really see any any drawbacks to bearings. But again, I mean, if you can make a Teflon as smooth as Jesse Jarrow's does, then I don't care. You know, I'll take the Teflon any time if it's this smooth. This knife is ridiculous. So, all right. So John's just saying if you get mud or dust in the bearings, you're screwed. I just kind of rambled about that. I mean, sand maybe, like sand, but dust or mud, I don't think so. I don't know. You'd really have to get it really jammed in there, and I don't know. Knives are kind of like AK-47s. You kick the thing enough, it'll open back up. So, all right. Are you going to get a 2 squared? What the hell's a 2 squared? Okay. Holy crap. All right. Okay, Scrim just verified the Toro was the Diskin collab with the double detent ball setup. Just to clarify, I don't have one here in front of me, but on the actual Diskin knife, and I can't remember the name right now, there was only one hole for the detent ball on the non-locking side. So the detent ball that was on the where the detent would traditionally be on the locking side, the locking liner lock, I think it was, there was no hole there, and so all it did was keep the liner lock, or the frame lock, whatever it was, off of the blade, so it wasn't dragging and scratching the blade. So there was no hole in that the detent ball went into on the locking side. Now the non-locking side, it had to have been a frame lock. Yeah, it had to have been a frame lock. But the non-locking side, where you had that additional spring bar with the ball, the detent ball, the hole is located there, and the premise is that you can't put additional pressure on the detent ball that makes the knife harder to open. So if Kaiser screwed up the Toro and put 2 holes in the blade for both detent balls, then that was a manufacturing error on their point, because the original premise of the design was to keep pressure off the detent ball that was actually making contact with a hole in the blade. So yeah. Vinny wants to know my top 3 knives right now. Oh man. Vinny, I don't have top 3. I mean, you know, I've got like 20 knives that I freaking love. And then I have knives that I love, but I love too much to carry on a regular. So I have a very complicated relationship with knives. Blitz was saying the laser etching here on the Larious is really good, and I agree. That's really, really nice lasering. Well done. Okay. So let's see here. Yeah, Connor was confirming issues with the double detent on the Toro. I haven't handled one, but yeah, if they put 2 holes in there, then that was a design faux pas, because the original only had 1 hole for one of the detent balls. Okay, Mr. Gear Bear was saying that he wants the Wii Eschaton, but he just got the Browse Echelon. Yeah, I'm not a Browse fan. I would take the Wii over it any day, but you know, hopefully you can get yours dialed in and you're really happy with it, because you know, you should be happy. Thoughts on Custom Knife Factory, aka customized by Stas or something else? Knives worth the price to you? Kit asked. I had one customized Custom Knife Factory, and it was freaking sweet. It had this laser work of a pinup girl that you would find on like World War II bombers. I really dug it. I did win it though. I won it in a giveaway, so I mean, you know, I don't know if I'm the best judge because I didn't actually have to pay for that one, but I thought it was really cool. I thought the work was really unique. I have a couple of friends who have some of those Dragon Spine Sequoia 2.0s or whatever, and those are really, really impressive knives, and my friends that have them absolutely have like 2 or 3. They really like them. Okay, trying to go through the comments here. Okay, the Ontario Knife Company of Robert Carter designed 2 squared. Actually, I haven't seen that one. I'm not the biggest fan of the Ontario Knife Company. I just like, you know, knives in a little bit higher price bracket. So, yeah. I mean, they don't have to be more expensive, but I like nicer knives than, you know, Ontario Knife Company typically does. I mean, although the Rat, I mean, fantastic knife. And the Rat 2 and so forth, but you don't really see much in terms of CRKT or Ontario Knife Company or those companies here on my channel, just because it doesn't really interest me like a ton. Favorite knife ever, DDOX04 asks. I mean, the problem is it can always change, but gun to my head, the only knife that I bought twice and kept, this one, ZTO392. I mean, gun to my head, maybe that's my favorite knife. Bought it, sold it, rebought it, have no intention of ever selling this one again. Vinny was saying he's seen a knife on bearings fail. but he's also seen a Sebenza 21 fail. So, you know, anything's possible. And then Scrim was just clarifying that they did put detent holes on both sides of the Toro, the Kaiser Toro. Yeah, they shouldn't. That was not how the design was intended. So someone messed up somewhere. Because the actual matte Diskin did not have two holes, just one hole, two detent balls on each side of the blade. So yeah, that's too bad. It's a super cool design though. I mean, the custom was really, really interesting. If you guys ever get the chance to handle any like real custom matte Diskins or a semi-custom, he uses a lot of CNC stuff. Highly recommend it. He does some really unique builds. I mean, his stuff is like funky awesome. So even though I don't have any, I'm a big fan of Matt Diskin's work because it is just kind of out there, and you never know what he's going to show up at a show with. Like the only time his knives pop up are at shows, and you have no idea what he's going to bring, and then you walk to his table and you're, what the hell is that? And you're like, that is awesome. So yeah, Matt Diskin, man, he's just kind of, I don't know, just kind of an odd dude, just popping up with sweet knives. So yeah. Okay, let's see. Dragonheart asking about Jeff Park stuff. Why no bones here yet, mid-text or otherwise? I cut myself on a Jeff Park. It was a full custom crossbones or whatever the hell that was, and I slipped on the flipper tab. I slipped on the flipper tab and I landed right on the spine of the blade and I cut myself pretty damn good. So I don't know how I feel about Jeff Parks after cutting myself on a closed knife like really bad. Yeah, I think that's going to give me a certain degree of bias against his knives, even if they are good, I guess. Vinny was just talking about how pebble can get wedged in the knives with bearings, and again, I suppose it's possible, so. Okay, DDOX04 asked what my favorite knife ever was, again, and why. This one, ergonomics, materials, action, quality. I mean, there's something incredibly satisfying about the 0392 series, and this one in particular with that, you know, working finish. It's awesome. Yeah, you know, gun to my head, this might be my favorite knife ever. I'm really sad I sold my first one because it had kind of a cool story around it, but you know, I bought this one back. And the cool thing is I got it for, these were like $400. I paid like $420 for it on the secondary market. It was brand new. The thing had not even been broken in. It was like fresh, minty out of the box. And $420 for a knife that was discontinued and that I thought was like the best knife ever was a freaking deal. So I don't know if I got super lucky or, you know, if just the fact that they made a bunch of these means it wasn't like $800, which I'm grateful for because I wouldn't have done it like at 800, but at near what they cost, I was really stoked to grab this one again. Okay. So Kit was just saying he remembers that pinup knife that I won. He was hoping to win it as well. That was that Custom Knife Factory customized one. Yeah, I like Custom Knife Factory stuff. They make good knives. I've got a new one. Oh yeah, this was the other new one I got in. This is the Custom Knife Factory Awesome by Anton Malashev. And it feels a lot like the Sukhoi 1.0 and 2.0, but it has the same kind of overall lines and shape as the Garza, which I used to have. So this is a happy little love child of the Garza and the Sukhoi 2.0. But yeah, I mean, their quality is always there. And I don't know if you guys have seen, but they're doing a collab with Peter Recenti, I think based on the Satori, and that is an absolute like must-have for me. So I still have their first integral, the Tegral, which is a freaking awesome knife. All right, let's see. CRKT's nicest knife in years. I'm not sure which one that was, Vinny or Tommy. I'm having trouble keeping up with all the comments. Okay, whoa, come back, comments. Okay, no production warfighter. I don't remember who makes the Warfighter. I don't even remember. Have I ever owned any Terzola designs? Yes. I've never had a custom Terzola because his table price is like $2 grand, and that's like above my emotional limit per knife. But I would happily have one. And if you guys think Terzolas are expensive now, just wait till you can't make knives anymore. Then you're screwed. No 2018 ZTs yet. Is that like 5 L's in a row asked? No, not yet. Not yet. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe soon. I don't know. I'm excited. How about Curtis Knives? Kit asked. Those, I've tried them. I've handled 1 or 2. I thought the quality was good. Favorite designer? 7 Already asks. Oh man, too many good designers. I mean, each custom knife maker is essentially a designer to a certain extent as well, so there's just so many out there. I mean, if this is like potentially my favorite knife ever, then maybe Hinder's one of my favorite designers ever. I mean, maybe that's fair to say. I like Francois Nell's design work. Big fan of Tashi's design work. Elisha Isham, I mean, his stuff is freaking off the wall, but cool. I really like his stuff too. Terzola is a designer, and he is the godfather of tactical knives, and I mean, he makes some really, really timeless designs. Bob Lum, right? How recognizable is Bob Lum? So I don't know if I just have one favorite designer. Vinny's just saying he's never seen a knife on bearings fail. I'd agree. So Drake Dragonheart was saying he wants to see what the Jim Skelton and Custom Knife Factory collaboration looks like. As do I. I think that'd be really interesting to see how that comes out. Nate Green asked if I have any ballast songs. I have a piece of crap that I bought in high school that I still have. It is legitimately a piece of crap. I do want to get a nice one, but I'm going to be honest, if I get another Bally, it's going to be a trainer, because I spent a long time in high school just cutting the crap out of myself. Can't really type on a computer if my hands are sliced to bits. Oh, Tommy was saying that the Carter Prime is the nicest knife CRKT's ever made. Cool. Very cool. No. It got wedged in a... Oh, okay, Vinny was clarifying what type of knife he's seen fail. Someone's asking about Butch Valaton Customs. His customs are kind of odd. I don't know that they really appeal to me, to be honest. Just came in the stream. Can we see the Shirogorov? James Mutsilo asks. James, I sold the Shiro. Someone offered me stupid money, and I sold it, and I hate myself for it. I'm gonna be honest. Okay. Oh, Vinny, Shirogorov does not suck. It's just overpriced. South African stuff, Scrim asks. Got a Thorburn to show off, talk about smooth. I've got a couple knives from South Africa, Scrim. I've got my Clyde Challenors, which I'm big fan of Clyde's work. I have one from Johan Ellis, which is a slip joint. Yeah, there's some really good stuff out of South Africa. Okay. Vinny, I would disagree that Shirogorovs are built stupid. I would agree that they are overpriced, but I love Shiros. Fox Knives Phoenix is amazing, Tommy was saying. And any rumors on the Arcform's new release or any possible time frames? Not When asks if I know any info on Arcform. I haven't heard or seen anything yet. Maybe I'll talk to him in the near future. We'll see. Favorite blade steel, Nate asked. Probably M390. And Wolf Sven talking about Butch Valaton. And yeah, again, the Butch Valaton Customs and the Kyle Valaton, or Rainey and Kyle Valaton Customs. I've seen them. Never handled one. They don't really speak to me, so yeah. But anyways, I think that's all the new stuff that I have. Is there anything else that you guys want me to pull out or you want to see, or any other questions you guys had? Do you have a Phoenix? I don't have a Phoenix. What is your earliest knife memory? Robbery asks. Okay, good story time, I guess. When I was a kid, I was in Cub Scouts, and my dad had he had a Boy Scout knife. You know, it was like a slip joint. Well, I mean, it was a kind of like a Swiss Army style knife with like either faux. It had the Boy Scout emblem on the handle, and it had I don't know, it was like the jigged wood pattern type stuff or whatever, and I thought it was the coolest thing, and I was like, you know, can I have it, or can I play with it, or can I carry it? And he said, no, like when you're in Boy Scouts you can have it. I remember I had some serious knife envy, because there's just something so cool about you know, when you're in Cub Scouts and all the Boy Scouts get to carry pocket knives, you know, like I just remember that. And let's see, knife memories after that. One of my grandfathers passed away, and we were at my grandmother's house because we lived in Northern California, and Northern California was flooding. And I was just kind of going through and kind of playing with stuff in his office, and I found a bunch of crappy lockbacks and traditional style knives, and I must have been like 10 or 12, and I asked her if I could have them, and she said I could, and so I came home with a kind of a bunch of crappy knives, but, you know, special knives. I only know where one of them is these days, so I feel bad that I lost them, to be honest. But those are some of my earliest knife memories. But yeah. Okay, Kit was talking about Gareth Bull, and it came with a huge chip. Yeah, that's unfortunate. I mean, when you wait 9 months and then you get a knife and it has a serious flaw when it's coming from the other side of the world, that is a bummer. I would definitely check out Clyde Challenor and Jason Guthrie if you're looking for good knives from South Africa. Those are probably, and then I feel like slip joints, Johan Ellis. I mean, those are my favorite South African guys, although I'm aware that there's certainly way more. South Africa has an amazing custom knife community that I think rivals the US in terms of variety, and, you know, like comparatively size even. Obviously not the same amount of output, but for population versus how many knife makers, I'm sure it rivals the US. Those guys like knives down there. Pena. Someone, Blitz is talking about Enrique Pena. Only good quality stuff I've found from him. I like his designs as well. Check out. Okay. Okay, Tommy's saying I need to handle the Phoenix. Actually, you know what? I did handle the Phoenix at the USN show, now that I think about it. GP Knives had a bunch at their table, and I handled those, and I thought it was quite good. I know the finish does not hold up on the Phoenix at all. I guess the anodized finish that they did, or a coated finish or whatever. But the action and the feel was very good. Assuming it's the same one I'm thinking of, which is a... oh, I can't think of his name. The designer. Our French friend. Damn, I need more caffeine. Yes, I'm still jabbering. Still jabbering. Drake Dragonheart asked if I had to pay for the parabolic and or the servo. Yes, I did. Unfortunately, I mean, yeah, they were not inexpensive, so. Ooh, what, oh, damn. What started your integral obsession? I don't know. You know, I mean, with a lot of things that we like, there's some weird accumulation of experiences that make us like certain aspects. And I mean, back when I started collecting knives, you know, 7 years ago, there was only like, I think Line Steel was the only game in town in terms of integrals. So, yeah, now there's a lot more companies willing to try it, but I don't know. I just really dig integral knives. Yes, Drake Dragonheart. It is a Tashi collaboration. God, I'm terrible. Blitz got kicked out of Cub Scouts for eating a brownie. I got kicked out of Boy Scouts, but that's a different story. Okay. Yes, Tashi Barucha. God, I'm terrible. All right. Let's see what else. Yeah, so Phoenix is a Tashi Barucha collaboration with Fox. I think it was like, what, $240? But I thought it was a decent knife, so. No? Vinny, am I wrong? Am I thinking of a different knife then? I've got my phone. Where's my phone? Oh yeah, this was my other thing in my pocket today, of course, my cell phone, so. Was it VIPRE Phoenix? PH. It's not VIPRE, is it? Oh well. So Future Rust and Dust asked, how would you compare your love of knives to those of watches? I think they're equal, but I do recognize that, you know, if comparatively, knives are way cheaper than watches for the quality that you get. So, yeah. If I wanted to have this level of watch, I'd have to spend multi-$1,000s. So, although I love watches and I really love watches, I cannot afford to love watches the same way that I love knives, unfortunately. So, Fox Knives Phoenix. Damn, Tommy, I am slipping today, man. Slipping. Okay. All right, Fox Knives Phoenix. Yep. Okay. Yeah, that is the one I was thinking of. That is the Tashi Barucha collab. Handled several of those at Blade show or at the USN show, and I liked them. I thought they were pretty well done. I still have the Fox Desert Fox. Where's that one? Oh, good. It's right here. And this is a really nice knife. I did a video on this one. This is the Fox Knives Desert Fox. So this was a limited edition-esque sort of thing with the Damasteel and the titanium, but this thing is really smooth. Certainly a unique opening method with this cutout here in the blade, but the quality on this one is really, really good. Just wish the pocket clip had more space there for jeans and so forth, but here's another knife that Fox did really well. So, you know, they've got skill, they've got talent. They just haven't. They do a lot of OEM work from what I hear for other manufacturers, and so they haven't ever really put a huge emphasis on their in-house designs. So there's that. So yeah. Favorite knife, Grayson, probably this one. If I had to pick. I mean, again, I've got customs that I absolutely love and that I'd never sell, but I just don't carry them and use and abuse them the same way as that knife. So. Epic's ATM pen. Blitz, what the hell are you talking about? Oh, 0392. Okay. No, I was like, is that right? I had to think for a minute. Blitz is screwing with my head this late in the evening. Yeah, the 0392 favorite knife, but certainly not my ATM pen. So, do I find some integrals hard to put back together? The Great White Hope asks. Probably, yeah. I've only taken like one or two of them apart. I took a Lion Steel SR1 and SR2 apart, and oh my gosh, that was pain and suffering putting back together. Some of the newer integral knives actually have a different system of inserting the you know, the bearings and the pivot where it all goes through the side of the knife, at least on the new Riot. So Blitz wants to know how many watches are in my collection. 15, I think. Yeah, I think it's 15. So Russ asked if I've ever handled the Fox Tur. I have liked it. I thought it was really good. So. Any plans on getting the Reich integrals? Drake asked. You know, the issue with Reich knives is one, price. They're pretty freaking expensive. Like, are they worth it? Arguably. But the problem with Reich and some of the other overseas manufacturers is there's no constant distribution channels, and they keep changing up the models so often that you'll see a picture of one, you have no idea what the model name or number is, you won't be able to find it, and then they no longer make it. And so there's a big issue with like communication and knowing when and where and how to buy things. So that's kind of my issue with that company. So the Great White Hope is saying he has issues with the Spyderco Nirvana. Yeah, I sold mine. It was okay, but I like my other integrals better. And so, I mean, with the new custom knife collaboration they're also doing with Peter Recenti, I imagine that the Satori Custom Knife Factory version is going to be vastly superior to the Spyderco Nirvana, looking at Peter Recenti collaboration. So, yeah. All right, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up there. Hopefully I answered most of your questions, so I apologize if I missed anything. And again, hopefully the video and the audio is of decent quality. I'm going to be doing a lot more tweaking and experimenting and seeing what I can really, you know, squeeze out of my technical capabilities here for, you know, optimum stuff. Because if you're going to do it, you might as well do it really, really well. So anyways, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. I really appreciate, you know, all the comments and the questions. And letting me ramble about any number of subjects that we talked about in the hour and 20 minutes here. So I'll do another one in 2 weeks, and we'll see what you know, BladeHQ throws in the little Barney lunchbox. So again, one last look at the VIPRE Larious here that they were kind enough to let me check out. Sweet little knife. I definitely like some things about it. And there is the BladeHQ item number if you did need more info on it. So, all right. Hope everyone has a good night. Stay safe. Happy New Year. No drinking and driving, but definitely knife buying. If you want to go on a drunken knife purchasing, you know, type of situation, I mean, BladeHQ is probably a good place to end up. A lot better than Amazon. So, anyways, guys, thanks so much and take care. I'll see you.